through the earth to get this gospel to people, and to get, and especially Israel, you know, because they're going to experience a lot of harsh times. A lot of stuff that when you look at it and you look at this text, right? We just read to you talking about war coming, uh, the power of Satan working through the Antichrist and the false prophet, um, artificial intelligence that we see. The verse chapter of Revelation chapter 13 talking about he made the image to speak. Also taking the mark of the beast because of famine and a shortage. Fourth of man, the fourth part of the earth being killed, and war and pestilence taking place. We see all of that in the text. That's what it's talking about. You know, we talk about the beast system in Revelations 13 of the formation of amalgamation of the different the different beasts that we see that come together. I'm saying to war against the Son of Christ and the army of God that comes from heaven in Revelation chapter 19. You know what I'm saying? This is what this is talking about. And so it's the church that's coming back, and those who also, because see, the one who are dead in Christ will rise first and meet the Lord, and their bodies will be changed to put on heavenly bodies to go into heaven for those 7 years. Now, the Daniel 70 weeks is something that we have not broken down yet. We got to break that down. We need to break that down. Daniel 70 weeks that we see is divided into 3 divisions. We see it's divided into 49 years of what they call 7 years. So you have 7 years. I mean, I'm sorry, 7 weeks. You have 7 weeks, right? And Daniel's 7 weeks, and that equals out to what you call 49 years, right? And then you also have the second division. The second division is divided into 62 weeks. That 62 weeks that you see is a total of 434 years. When you add that 434 years towards them 79, towards the 7 weeks, which is 49 years, you get a total of 483 years, right?
Chapter 9 says here. And you know, Gkon, they butchered this one, the 70 weeks.
I'm going in and out, you said?
I said they butchered this the scripture of the 70 weeks. They
real bad. Real bad. I need you to bring some clarity to that.
Okay.
They got the Messiah being cut off on Wednesday and raising up out of the tomb on a Saturday night.
They got him coming in crucified on Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, and got him raising on the Sabbath day. I mean, it's bad.
They look at what do they look at the what is it, the one that comes from the print? Yeah, right here it says, "And the people of the prince that shall come and destroy the city." They think that's him. That's the Messiah.
Right. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, you coming in good.
All right. Yeah, I got a bad signal. Y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You sound good, Jim.
Okay. All right, so okay, there's 3 divisions, right? Now, the 3 divisions that we see consist of 70 weeks, right? The first division that we see is 7 weeks, which consists of, which equals 49 years. That's the first division of the fixing up of the temple. Now, the 62 weeks that we see consist of 434 years. And so when you add the 62 weeks with the 7 weeks, right, you get a total of 69 weeks, right? And the 69 weeks that you see totals out to 483 years. There's a third division, though. It says the last week. The last week is 7 years. So that's why we look in Revelations when it says that when it says that in Daniel chapter 9:27, it says in the midst of the week, it says that basically he shall make a covenant with many That he that is talking about is the prince of the people that shall come. The prince of the people that shall come is the prince that we see that comes out of when we look at Romans chapter Revelation, Daniel chapter 7, it's the 11th horn. That's what it's talking about, of the Roman Empire, the revised Roman Empire, or the Roman Empire. The people come, they destroy the city. But then you will actually say, well, how is this the prince of the people that shall come? Well, what you realize is that the legions that was used to destroy Israel was the eastern portion of the Roman Empire. And guess who the eastern portion was? The eastern portion was a lot of your Arabic people. That's who it was dealing with. When you go look at the legions that came in that took over them, the Romans came and put the eastern portion over Israel. It was your Edomites now and your Arabs now. That's what they put over Israel. That eastern portion in those legions was Arabs, Confederate Arabs that was against Israel that he put over them. The prince of those people had not come yet. But when he come, the he in the next verse in 27, it says, and he shall make a covenant with many. This is what they used to teach in the old days.
Yeah.
They used to teach
that's
this.
what I was telling you about, Gkon. That's right there is who the Hebrew Israelite says is that is the Messiah making a covenant with some people in being put in the grave and we on a Wednesday and raising on the Sabbath day.
Right, yeah, and that ain't that. Yeah, that ain't that. And then what they teach you, they'll teach you also that the week is talking about Christ being killed 3.5 years and then stopping the sacrifices. That's what they'll say. But you can't use that because the sacrifices were still being sacrificed after that. The daily offerings and the sacrifice was still going forth. What that's talking about is the prince that shall come. When he cometh, he causes the sacrifices to cease. And I'm gonna tell you when that happens. Revelations chapter 11 and 2 Thessalonians 2 and 5 explains that. What happens in 2 Thessalonians 2 and 5, he comes and he establishes, he comes by war, then he establishes some peace. He flatters people first. He's going to come, he's going to make Israel, first of all, he's going to come with peace first, because I'm going to tell you why. That temple is going to get built. That temple has to get built, and it has to get built by agreements of the people who are in the land for them to build that temple. They got to build that temple. Once you see that temple being built or it gets built, that's when you have to look and say, well, we somewhere, because this temple is getting built. And if it's getting,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Can I ask a quick question?
Go ahead.
I'm looking at verse 26. So I'm gonna ask this question in part. Is Daniel chapter 9, verse 26 talking about the Messiah, correct?
26, what does it say? It talks about the until the Messiah, the prince. What does it say in 26?
And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but
Right.
not for himself, right? So that's talking about the Messiah.
That's talking about the Messiah, yeah.
Okay. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. Now, would I be right if do I have my interpretation right, or should I say exegesis right, when I say that this is talking about that the Messiah has to come before that second temple is destroyed?
Yep.
Yeah, before the second temple is destroyed, yeah, he has to, if you notice, the second temple is the 70 AD, the Herod's temple, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the temple. So
Okay.
it says that the people of the prince are going to come and they're going to destroy the temple. So before he comes, before they come, the Messiah comes and he's killed in the 69 week. So in between the 69 week and the 70 week is the destruction of the temple, and also Christ is killed at the end of the 69 week. So there's a pause there, because remember, the prophecy is concerning what? The people in the holy city. That's what it's concerning when you read at the top of 24. Thy
Correct.
people in your holy city. So if Christ is cut off, then God is no longer dealing with Israel as a nation and they disperse. It's going to come a time between the 69 and the week and the 70 week to where God begins to start dealing with them again to start up the 70 week, which is the last week, which is the last division, the week, which is what we see God start dealing with Israel and Jacob's troubles after when the first seal is open in the world. But
So
mainly
then,
Jacob's troubles. Yep.
so Daniel's chapter 9, verse 26. I can definitely, will it be wrong for me to say, or be right for me to say, that the ones that are denying Jesus as the Messiah miss the Messiah because they refuse to adhere to what Daniel's chapter 9 verse, or should I say Daniel's chapter 9 is saying here in verse 26, that the Messiah already came before that second temple was destroyed, correct?
Yep. And that's why the what's calls came, the Magos or the Magi came,
Come on.
and they came because they knew Daniel's clock. They came from the east. They knew about Daniel. The Magi are from Madai, and Daniel was in the Medes and the Persians' time, right? And he's telling them about these things. And guess who the Medes are? The Medes come from Madai, which has come from Japheth. So he's telling them about these things. So when you look at the Magi, they come from the east, and guess what? They following the constellation that Christ was born up under.
Right.
That's what they following.
They're the Chaldeans, ain't they?
They the Chaldeans, yeah.
Right, right. And you know my theory on that, LaRon, where they might have came from, but I think it's clear.
Where you say they might came from?
Well, if you look at who was given that, we're talking about Daniel, right? Now, Daniel was the one during those kingdoms that was set up at that time. He was the one that was given the head of the calculators and the Magi and the men of wisdom. Now, when you look at actual history, when Alexander the Great came in around 333 or 330 BCE, a lot of those guys who were called, not only, I don't think they were called the Magi, I think the history calls them the Parsees. And these guys who were called the priests of the fire, or whatever religious system that was going on there in Persia, they left over to the Chaldees. That's what they migrated to. Now, later on, these men, as described in the New Testament, were the men that came down and said, well, we follow his star to the east, and they're called Magi, which is interesting because they might have practiced and learned from Daniel's clock and incorporated that into their religious system about this coming one. They went over to the east to go learn this, and then they came back over to the east following his star, knowing the time when the Christ was going to be born. Here's something very interesting that I haven't verified fully, but it's very interesting. Did you know that at that time, the Chinese have a story that's similar, that a group of men settled on the border along the lines between in Asia, and they understood from their priesthoods and from those people that there was going to be this coming king. So according to one of the legends of Sun, that it was I have to pull it up, man. It's very interesting because I looked all around for it and I tried to translate it and look at it, but apparently the Chinese also calculated not only the time of Christ dying, but the Christ born, but the time he also died. And I think the poetry says, at this time when the sun has risen, it has now set. And they didn't understand what that was, but from hearsay and from what I found from this one guy who's doing a lesson on it, apparently these Chinese, for some way, somehow, understood the same thing the Magi that came from the West or the East understood, and they incorporated it into their stories.
I read the same thing, brother, regarding we're talking about that pictograph, that calligraphy, that Chinese calligraphy. Actually, and I read up on this too. It says that the Chinese.
My heart can't stop it. I find a way to block it. I go la 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 la.